man, like, he's my guy. He's my guy, man. And you know, you see him in the room, and he'll tell you, he's like, I might not be the most talented, I might not be the flashiest, I might not be the loudest, or whatever it may be, but I'll tell you what, when the lights come on and it's time to fight, there ain't a motherfucker in the world that you won't want to go to battle with than Dan Ige.
My name is Dan Ige. I'm the number 10 ranked featherweight in the world. My record is 14-3. I'm from Haleiwa, Hawaii. Well, my upbringing as a kid, I moved around a lot, you know, back and forth between Hawaii, California. My dad was in the military. He was a Navy SEAL for 32 years. And, you know, my mom worked a full-time job, worked 2 full-time jobs. So, you know, as a kid, I was moving around a lot. I like playing sports, I like playing video games, but that was pretty much my life.
How did you discover MMA?
I discovered MMA obviously growing up in Hawaii. Everyone likes to scrap there. If you just go to YouTube and you type in Hawaii scraps, like, everyone knows how to scrap. Everyone knows how to throw a leg kick. Everyone knows how to check a leg kick. And you know, I grew up watching BJ Penn. He was the UFC champion, 2-weight champion at the time. And he was a big inspiration of mine, and I knew a little guy like him, if he could do it, then I could do it. So I think I was ready for my first fight after my second year wrestling in college. You know, I trained jiu-jitsu pretty much my whole life growing up in high school, and then I wrestled a little bit as well, but after my second year of college, I came back home to Hawaii for the summer, and I did an MMA fight, and I won in probably 30 seconds, and I knew that was my destiny. I got the call to fight for the UFC, like, it was everything I had ever dreamed of, everything I've ever visualized, and I felt so confident going into that fight. I didn't feel any UFC jitters, whatever they call it. I felt confident, I felt like I belonged there. It didn't go my way, unfortunately, but it sparked a demon in me that took me on a tear to go on a 6-fight win streak. I got the Edson call on about a 2-week notice, and I wasn't 100% confident because I haven't been training, obviously, throughout the pandemic. Everything was closed, the gyms were closed, I was just working out in my garage. And thinking back to it, Edson was probably one of the scariest opponents I've ever faced physically, seeing what he's done to guys in the past. And I knew I had to gas pedal this dude, and I wasn't 100% confident in my cardio. But, you know, I went out there and I put everything aside, put my doubts to the side, and you know, I had to believe in myself and go out there and gas pedal it to victory. Getting the opportunity in the main event, July 15th in Fight Island was a huge opportunity. Once again, not the most ideal circumstances, but, you know, when opportunity knocks, sometimes you have to answer and say yes, and that was a huge opportunity for me. It didn't go my way, unfortunately, but it was a big learning experience. I've never got to fight 5 rounds in my life. Now I know I'm confident I can go 5 rounds, and I can push 5 rounds hard. And looking back to that moment, it was a good test against a game opponent in Calvin Kattar, and it's only made me a better fighter, and I can't wait to go back out and show that I've improved, and I will work my way back up to the top.
Punahale Soriano, from Oahu, Hawaii, fighting out of Extreme Couture, 7-0. So after I graduated college, at Wartburg College in Waverly, Iowa. I came home, was kind of living life, taking 2 or 3 jobs, you know. Didn't really know what I wanted out of life, and Dan Ige actually invited me to come to his gym, and it kind of snowballed from there on, just started going more and more, and eventually I got hooked.
Did you know you were ready for your first fight?
I didn't. Don't think I was ready at all. My coach, Brandon Wolf, he came into the room today, or just on a random day, and looked at me in the eyes and was like, "You look like you're ready to fight." And like, I had no clue. I was terrified, but I couldn't tell him no, so I just went with it.
What does the name Rashad Goff mean to you?
Rashad Goff. That's still kind of a scary name. He was the first guy I fought as an amateur, first fight of my life, actually. And I remember everything about it. I was terrified. He was huge. I believe we fought at 205, but he used to fight at heavyweight. And he didn't even make 205 for amateurs, and you can't deduct purse. There's no purses for amateur. So I was like, oh, well, I guess I gotta fight this guy who's already bigger than me, and like fight him at 210 or whatever he's at. So it was fun. It was a good experience. I was training. Dan had previously left our gym to come up here, and he told me just about every day how much the move has helped his performance as a fighter, helped him grow as a person. And I kind of just, would just talk with him, be like, yeah, I'll come here and there. And eventually I just kind of made the move, just trusted him and made the move. Yeah, it was a pretty crazy feeling, especially for me, because I kind of thought I wasn't going to get the contract. It was in the back of my mind. I didn't get the finish, and I didn't think it was my best performance. But, I was from the complete opposite side of the spectrum to through the roof. I don't know what emotion I was feeling. I wasn't sure if I was happy, if I was, sad still. Just everything kind of hit me, and I honestly kind of don't really remember. It just was such a rush. Yeah, definitely. There's always sacrifices. There's sacrifices whether you're having your worst times, or there's sacrifices whether you're having the best times in this sport. Yeah, especially through this injury, I've kind of had some hard times, some deep thoughts. I would think a lot about man, should I just get a normal job? I know a few people that could hook me up and get me a really good paying job, and I won't really have to struggle, or just when it's going good, the time you're putting into every practice, the emotions that's going in, sometimes it's hard to kind of keep that same level of energy when you come home to your girlfriend or your spouse, whatever it is. You don't really notice it, but that kind of pays a toll as well, just your energies. My goal is to be the greatest fighter ever lived. I have, before I got my name tag for my locker, I just wrote it on a cardboard piece of paper, Punahale Soriano, greatest fighter ever lived. And it's still up there right now, and I kind of just look at that, and whether I believe it, I believe it every day, and some days, I kind of see it, and maybe I'm just, a little mentally lax, and I don't believe it maybe someday, or what, but at least I'm seeing it, and at least it's in my head, and I think that kind of helps.
My name is Ty Gwerder. I'm 5'1", and I fight for Bellator. Upbringing was kind of more of the typical Hawaiian style. Went surfing a bunch. Grew up at the beach and played football my whole childhood. I went to school. I went to a private school for half of my life. So it's one of those things where growing up we all kind of almost had the same upbringing. I didn't really get into fighting just to fight, but it was kind of one of those things where I did to stay in shape in off season. Brad has actually been my mentor almost through all of this. He always used to push me when I was tired. He kind of molded me into the man that I should be in this sport, humble, but also not scared to go up against anybody. And he pushed me to my limits, and he still continues to do that. He pushes me to be the best fighter I could be, and every day I'm in here training with him, I strive to really just get better rounds than him sometimes, and he's been my push more than anything, and making him proud is one of the biggest things to me. I wasn't really ever actually just ready for my first fight. I just kind of was one of those things where I decided, I was like, all right, let's just see what we got, let's just go fight. Yeah. And then coming from Hawaii, we've been in so many street fights, it's kind of a thing out there. So when I got into my first fight, it was all right, let's do it. After taking that first loss, letting it sit for almost 9 months, it really felt nice to come back and get back in the win column. I put a little more pressure on myself than I probably should have. To me, I made myself know that if I lost this last fight, I probably would have had to make some changes. But coming back and making myself do everything I possibly could to be a better fighter, it really meant the world that it showed that night.